Hello and welcome to India Career Center, the one stop podcast for students, professionals, parents, and guardians. In every episode, we will try to deal with a current topic that needs expert advice related to career guidance, and career mentoring. Please welcome your host, Dr. S.B. Mishra, to the show, and happy listening.
Hello and welcome to another episode on India Career Center. Today we are going to talk about the different types of school education systems in India. Uh, just to give a background, India has approximately 15 lakh schools. The Indian education system is through different boards like the state board schools, the CBSE, ICSE, IGCSE, and IB boards. As per the reliable estimates which are available, publicly available data, there are about 27,240 CBSE board schools in India as well as outside India, some of it outside India as well. There are about 2,300 ICSE board schools, 500 Cambridge International Schools, and about 200 IB board schools. And of course, the rest of it is all the state board schools. A lot of parents are also now doing homeschooling for their children, which is a alternative method of education. The CBSE and ICSE boards, and of course the IGCSE and the IB board schools are dominating in the urban locations, and state boards are in the towns and rural locations. In overall comparison, obviously the international education system right now, the Cambridge International and the IB schools, they are very small, minuscule of the Indian education system. The purpose of doing this particular episode is really to understand how the different boards operate with respect to the teaching methodology, and also to understand if at a point of transition, especially I see a lot of parents talk about transitioning from high school to higher secondary school, especially when the children have to go into the 11th and 12th grade. Uh, and for children who are currently, let's say, studying in the CBSE or they are studying in the IGCSE or IB board, there is a decision point which comes that whether somebody should continue to study in those particular boards or they switch over to some other board. And also, children who are actually in the homeschooling, for example, they also need to decide which particular board to this board they should be taking up for their 11th, 12th. To discuss all this, we have got a very special guest today, Miss Ananya Nag, who teaches in the Suncity International School, Gurgaon, and has extensive experience in teaching both at school level as and university level. Teaches English in the International Baccalaureate Diploma program, IGCSE and CBSE curriculums. She is also a IBDP examiner. By education, she is a postgraduate in English literature and also holds PG diploma in the psychological counseling. She is also a certified counselor from the University of California, LA, with specialization in student profile building and overseas education. Ms. Ananya, thank you very much for joining us today for this specific uh, discussion, which I thought there could not be a better person than you to really talk about this subject, since you have the exposure across all these different boards and you are closely associated with the school system yourself. So thank you for accepting the invitation and being part of this conversation.
It's a pleasure, Dr. Mishra. So it's a pleasure to be here, and thanks for calling me to talk on your show.
I think what we can do is let's start with the first to understand the teaching methodology, because
Okay.
if somebody is wanting to take a transition from a high school to higher school, higher secondary school, for example. First of all, they have to understand what is the different types of methodology of teaching which is followed in each of
Okay.
these boards. So that will give a broad idea to the parents and to the children as well. And then we can take the next point of discussion. Yeah, over to you.
So the Indian boards, if you see CBSE comprising mainly of CBSE and the ICSE examinations, they have gone through an immense shift over the years. Like they have seen, and with the newly introduced NEP, they have seen a paradigm shift, been through a paradigm shift. In the sense, CBSE's main focus from knowledge acquisition has changed to skill acquisition, if you see. And so is ICSE, because they are under the NEP framework. So with the national education policy strongly suggests that it's enough to do with knowledge assimilation, absorption, and testing. So let us go into skill development, means education in the form of skill development. So here is where we are trying to go. We, in the sense, the Indian education system is trying to go at par with the uh, well, means the international education systems. So here, if you see from the CBSE point of view, CBSE is still into a structured system of examination. Like at the end of class 10, we sit for an exam, and at the end of class 12, we sit for another exam. So the class 10 exam is the school final, that is the secondary exam, whereas the post-secondary or the higher secondary exam is the CBSE
Right.
grade 12. Now, the problem with, there's no problem in it, but the problem is the assessment system has not evolved much. Although the curriculum has expanded, the curriculum has extended or lend itself much beyond the traditional or the conventional setup, but yet the assessment systems are yet to be revisited. The assessment systems are yet to be what you call redone, reworked. So this is the thing that what CBSE is. So in class 10 in CBSE, we generally sit for the subjects English and the second language being the major subjects, and then of course physics, chemistry, I mean science, on the broader stream, science, humanities, mathematics, and your fourth subject. Whereas in CBSE grade 12, you have a proper stream that is the science stream, the art stream, the commerce stream. Now CBSE has become pretty relaxed about the selection of subjects in a particular stream. They say that if your first, second, and third subject belongs to science, then the fourth subject can be taken from any other stream. Like a student can take physics, chemistry, maths, and can take political science.
Is it already on or it is
Yeah, it
on
is.
paper?
It has been operative even before the national NEP.
Okay.
So this was already there. So in humanities also, if you see, a student can take psychology, economics, sociology, and mathematics in humanities. So if you see, the division between the streams have blurred in CBSE. And that's on a purpose, because for now, many CBSE students are also going abroad. They are getting trained for careers abroad. They have their vision. They want to pursue higher studies abroad. So that's the reason CBSE cannot, no Indian board can have the rigidity of streams anymore. So later on, if you pass on to ICSE or ISC, ICSE is the class 10 of the Indian certificate examinations, whereas ISC is the 12th of Indians of the same exam. Now that's a council. That council has a curriculum, the ICSE or the ISC curriculum, which is mainly focused on languages. If you see language and humanities, ICSE is an offshoot of IGCSE, you can say, the Cambridge International Exams, and it's Indianized in its own way. But its main focus lies in the acquisition of languages, which makes most ICSE or ISC students very adept at the first language, that is English. And then, because they have a paper 1 which is 100 marks English paper, and a paper 2 which is 100 marks literature paper. So ICSE runs more on that pattern. Then ICSE also is quite defined in streams, very particular in streams, but has a ICSE is bulkier than CBSE, the syllabus and everything. But now you may ask me, what is the difference? Which is a preferred curriculum? Here, I would say that if you are keeping CBSE, if you are keeping your medical NEET or JEE in mind, then CBSE, of course, would be a preferred curriculum than ICSE or ISC. That's because the conduct of CBSE exams and the conduct of JEE and NET, they go at par. The syllabus and everything. NEET, sorry, not NET, NEET exam. Yeah, and ICSE has its own stand, and on the other hand, has better humanities and linguistic or language, means language, what do you call, framework. They have
Focus on language is much
focus,
bigger.
yes. They have a better focus framework on languages and humanities and science too. We can't say that we can never come to this inference that ICSE students don't get selected for IITs. No, it's wrong. Or ICSE students don't get selected for NEET or JEE. No, absolutely no. We cannot conclude that. They also do get selected because the syllabus is also at par, but somewhere the CBSE syllabus is much in adherence with the ICSE. Now, both the curriculums that they have a very strict and well-defined assessment system. They have a 20 marks practical and a 80 marks writing. Now, here the practical that they have is often a project that the student has to do. But here the project many a time goes from from research work based on internet or books and copies. But here they differ from the international curriculum, where I'll be coming to that, because that's an extensive discussion that I'll be entering into. Now, if you see the international, now see, if I have to put it in level 1 and level 2, if I have to level it up in terms of difficulty, I would say that CBSE would be in level 1 and ICSE would be in level 2. Why? Because the marking of CBSE is much more, I won't say lenient, but much more objective than ICSE or ISC.
Okay.
So that's the reason that CBSE can be scoring to a few people. Means, it depends on your learning pattern. It depends on your learning abilities, the way, what sort of a learner you are. Second is Dr. Mishra, if we move to the Cambridge International Exams, if you see in Cambridge International Exams, we don't have that is the IGCSE or the A levels or the AS level that we have in India. The IGCSE being the most common, because IGCSE forms a very strong foundation for the DP program, the IB-GP program. So somewhere, although both are two different curriculums altogether, but both are very well interlinked. So most of the schools, you'll say that they keep 9 and 10 as IGCSE, whereas for 11 and 12, they keep as International Baccalaureate Diploma Program. That is the DP. Why? Because DP is a program that gives you a diploma. So that's better for students. That's actually for foreign. When you are applying for foreign university, you have an edge over the others when you have a diploma in hand, more than when you have a certificate in
secondary
hand.
certificate.
Yeah, certificate in hand. So this is the thing. So what you see in IGCSE and IBDP is, first let me take the Cambridge International Exam. That's a country-specific, more rigid, more defined sort of an examination. Again, like the ICSE, IGCSE, but at a higher level. ISE and the CBSE, but at a higher level. But it's well defined. It has a standard examination system and everything. But here, it is not based on knowledge assimilation. It is highly based on skill assimilation. So if you see an IGCSE student, when they are tested on the skills they have acquired for the past 2 years in which they were in the course, where they were running in the course, when they were running.
In a way, can we say application acquired as well?
Yes, okay. Application skills. Like, For example, uh, suppose CBSE might ask you for history, CBSE might ask you a straightforward question like when was the Battle of Panipat fought? Whereas IGCSE will ask you a question more related to the consequences or the conditions or the what you call or the causes of the Battle of Panipat, which you have to sit and derive, which you must have acquired or perceived while you were going through the lesson.
Okay.
So it is more reflective for a student than the knowledge blast.
So it is more in terms of subjective answer. So
Yes,
I just have a related question to that. If the
yes,
answer is subjective, every individual will write in a different creative manner.
great, yeah, yeah.
So the assessments will be very difficult to really arrive at. I mean, what is the right answer in that case?
No, see, the right answers, there is, of course, there is a marking system, there is everything, a mark scheme given to examiners, everything. But yes, the approach over here is different. If you see that you cannot go, suppose if I ask you today that what are the consequences of the Battle of Panipat, here you are gathering information from various sources of information which you have undergone in your period of study in the IGCSE curriculum. Here, maybe the answer is not given to you in one chapter and in one text.
Okay.
But the answer remains the same, right?
Mm-hmm.
So here, when you are writing an answer, so the answer will definitely have a parameter to measure, means a measurable parameter. If you
Okay.
see, so it can easily be measured, but definitely it is reflective, like how a student has acquired the information, how he has processed the information, and what is the objective attained out of that information. Like if
Okay.
I tell you from the point of view of literature, in CBSE, we ask direct questions like, how was mother, or how did mother look at the age of 66? Or give a description of the appearance of the mother at the age of 66. So that's there in the poem, My Mother at 66. ICSE might be a bit tweaked ISC. What I mean, ISC might ask you questions like, in Lamb to the Slaughter, how can you say that it is a dark comedy, a dark tragedy? Sorry, you can. They might ask you a question like this in IGCSE. When you are doing a literature, when you are you have a choice of going into a literature program. You might take literature, you might not take literature. But if you have chosen a literature program, means a literature as a subject, here they will ask you, they have only essays. So in one paper you write two essays, only two essays, for a good 1.5 hours. So when you're attempting two essays, they might ask you from, suppose, from Shakespeare, suppose. From Shakespeare, they might ask you that what is the tragic impact do you see, or what sort of a tragic impact has Shakespeare created in fleshing out the character of Othello? They might ask you like this. So here, the student needs to be very equipped with terms like catharsis, because tragic impact comes with catharsis. Here, the student is analyzing that how the character is created. Yes, the student is seeing what is the your Shakespearean language, Shakespeare's art of characterization, all paradigms she is exploring. All the purview is much greater for the student to explore. So here, if you see, if the student is talking about Shakespeare, so where means in ICSE and IBD, in ICSE and CBSE, they are answering what is said. But in IGCSE, they are answering how it is said. What is said is already said. Already you know. They are not interested in summaries. They are interested in inferences and deductions.
So
Because
basically
summary,
trying to understand your own way of understanding that particular
yes,
subject. Yeah.
yes. This is known as
Okay.
metacognition, sir.
Okay.
The one that you summed up, it is known as metacognition, which is a major part aspect of learning in the international curriculum, especially in IBDP.
Okay. Now, coming down to specific question
Oh,
on,
now coming down to the IBDP program,
yeah,
I have
yeah,
a difference. Now,
sure.
IBDP program, you have 6 groups. You don't have streams. IBDP is the 11, 12 of the international curriculum, the DP program. Now, the DP program again has the DP, the International Baccalaureate has 3 programs, sir. One is the primary years program, one is the middle years program, and the other one is the diploma program. Now, the primary years program and the middle years program, they prepare you for all other programs in the world so that you can very well go and get adjusted, but they don't have a proper examination system at the end of the programs.
Oh,
Yes.
so there
So,
is no exam
so
like
they
the
have
10th board.
summative exams, but yeah, they don't have the CBSE, ICSE sort of exams.
Okay.
But the diploma program has the diploma exams.
Mm-hmm.
So the diploma program here is conducted by the International Baccalaureate. So, at the end of MYP, don't think that they don't have summative exams. MYP also has a summative exam. At the end of MYP, in the sense, class 10, there is a paper that comes and they write the paper, all these things, but there is no what you call is like the ICSE and the CBSE, the concrete defined systems of exams. It's not there in the DP program. Whereas in the MYP, if you see, sir, in the DP, if you sorry, in the IB program, in DP, if you see, it's again become very structured. DP gives you a framework based on which you set your own curriculum. It basically provides a framework for the school. And sir, to this I must say, not all schools are equipped to handle the DP program.
Oh.
So there are only few schools who have the provision and the infrastructure and I would rather more than the infrastructure, you would use the word provision to handle the IB programs, because the IB program says that you have to have the framework, and within that framework, the teachers need to be trained. They don't understand what is B.Ed.
Mm-hmm.
They understand that the teachers need to be trained in the specific group on the specific subject and the specific pedagogical approaches.
Okay.
So they have their own training systems on which they train their teachers. Now, yes, over years, sir, if you see the own systems, the pedagogical systems, that is when a teacher teaches the IB program, the teacher never gives out an answer. The teacher is just a facilitator. It is based on active learning. What the IB student learns, like if you see in a English literature class, as I'm from an English literature background, means I teach English literature. For an English literature class in IB, the teacher never gives out the answer. The teacher poses a question in the class, and the students come up with their answers. So based on that, the students also do extended essays, and there's the core curriculum. Those are very extensive, means if you see, these are very intricate, means getting into deep details of the program. But in IGCSE, IBDP, unlike other curriculums, they have 6 groups, subject groups. And in these 6 subject groups, you have to take at least 1 subject per group. And that also is the standard or the higher level. Like from English A, like I'll tell you, they have in group 1, they have language A, which has literature, which has language and literature, which has literature and performance. Within these 3, you can choose one. In group B, they have language acquisition, that is foreign languages. You can take one of the foreign languages. In group C, you have individuals and society, which is humanities. You can take 2 subjects from humanities. So this is how the IB curriculum goes. So they don't have streams. They have subject groups based on which you have to. So no student in IB studies only science or only humanities or only commerce.
Mm-hmm.
So they don't have the concept of science and humanities.
Okay.
So this is how the IB curriculum, but at the end of class 12, IB also conducts an exam that the papers come from IB, and there is a huge major coursework that comes with it. Now, coming to the project work that I was talking about, in IGCSE, IBDP, CBSE, and ISE, the differences between ICSE and CBSE coursework means that is the 20-mark project that they have. They do very well. They do a copy pasting. Everybody does a copy pasting job, but they do the research that lies in ICSE and CBSE. The students generally base their work on internet programs. Means internet means sorry, not
Data available,
program, sorry,
information
data
available on
available.
internet.
Yes, on the internet. Sorry, not program, but data that is available. So they take information from there and then they type in the information. Whereas the real research that lies beyond the information, we in ICSE or CBSE, maybe the Indian curriculums are not yet equipped to train the students in that. What are the websites we must refer to? What are the resources that we must refer to? What sources can be termed as fake sources? Like we cannot refer to student papers while we are doing our research. We cannot there are certain what are the primary sources, secondary sources of information which are reliable, which are not. So these somewhere, the Indian curriculums have not gone to that stage to train it. But of course with the NEP, I'm sure new things are coming up, because with the computer literacy coming into prominence, I'm sure this will be dealt with supreme importance. Whereas the foreign curriculums are more delved into the research system of education. Like here, we teach our students MLA 8 citation. What is the citation methods? Like when you even if you take a definition from one of the internet sources, you need to cite it. Why you need to cite it? So, there's something called academic honesty, which is very well taken care of in the international curriculums. Now, here I need to tell you something, sir, that the national curriculum and the international curriculum, they both, what all of them are looking towards now is development of the 21st century skills.
That's right.
The NEP clearly states that is skills that are related to critical thinking, skills related to evaluation, skills related to proper forming proper judgments, forming proper reasoning, and many
Yeah,
more
yeah.
self-management skills, a lot of other things. So here you see that because they say that the world is coming, means we are heading to such a world, towards such a world, or such an educational environment or a professional environment, that our biggest asset will be to acquire or learn new things, and so that we know how to learn. That should be the aim of education, at no matter at what point of life and no matter at what stage of life.
Mm.
Means it's learning how to learn,
Yeah.
I would term it.
Interestingly, I was actually reading a book today called The Range, and there's one chapter called Thinking Outside Experience. I think what you're explaining is exactly that. So
many a times I've come across parents who would say that my son or my daughter cannot do a this rote learning, are not meant for rote learning, not meant for the conventional learning systems or the conventional structure of education that we've been going through, that they've been studying all throughout. Then they intend to change the curriculum to IGCSE and IBDP. Before they do that, I must tell you that IGCSE and IBDP is not easy.
oh yeah, okay.
So that we need to keep in mind. Like, if CBSE, we are saying level 1, level 2, and then IGCSE would be level 3. Rather, IBDP will be level 3 and IGCSE will be level 4.
You
So,
mean the level of difficulty increases because of the
yeah.
quantity of
Quantity as well as the quality that we need.
quality. Okay.
Like quality of answers
Thinking.
that we need.
Quality of
And
thinking.
yes, thinking and engagement, both for the student. See, over here, I think, sir, it's easier at one point of time, it's easier for us to refer to a book for an answer than to have information and process your own answer.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree.
So this is the thing that we need to understand, that if we think that it's difficult to mug up in CBSE, that's why we are shifting to IGCSE and IBDP, then the choice is very wrong.
Okay.
So because
what should be, I mean, obviously, what I clearly understand is that it also has to be suiting to the personality of the child, isn't it? I mean,
yes,
somebody
learners, it
not
differs
a
from one
not a
learner to
thinking
another.
type of person, then actually the IGCSE and IBDP would be a
IBD.
difficult choice.
Yes, I'll come to this. The thing is, if a child, at times you'll see some children think out of the box.
Correct.
Some children, they don't score very high in school
Hmm.
because it's not this that they don't understand the subject. They understand the subject, they very well have acquired the subject, but maybe for maths, suppose they are jumping steps.
Correct. Possible.
Okay, or they are making calculations mistake. They know how to solve the sum, but they are making calculation mistakes in the
Hmm.
middle or something like that. But they are thinkers. They can think out of the box. Their concepts are clear, everything. For them, for these students who are beyond textbooks, and I repeat, who are beyond textbooks, I would means they are very well suited for the IBDP and IGCSE curriculum.
Okay, that's very well said. I think you really simplified the concept very well. Yeah. So and another way of because there are parents who children right now is studying in IGCSE board, and they realize that now they have come back to India. I mean, they were outside India, they've come back to India. So the children are still studying in the IGCSE board right now, up to 10th. So now the question is whether from there they switch over to CBSE or continue that IGCSE journey.
See, if they have come from, if they have been through in the Cambridge International Exams, I would say that they have learned the pattern of the Cambridge International Exams. So if they switch to CBSE, for instance, then what will happen? They are changing to another form, a different system, a different structure of assessment.
Hmm.
So there they might find it difficult because the structure has its own demands. The assessment would have its own demands, its own spaces to be covered.
Correct.
So here the student might not be very adept in addressing those spaces. Whereas when he's doing IGCSE from the beginning, then it's good to stay in IGCSE. Now here there is a fix again that IGCSE incorporates or imbibe means incorporates a lot of what you call coursework in the sense they give you individual report writing, they have a team project, and they have objectives to meet. That might be a bit difficult for students anywhere in the world. It again differs from students to students. Now coming back to your question, if a student has studied, if a parent have a like has a transferable job, then what to do? If he's internationally prone to international transfers, I would prefer he should go for IBDP or IGCSE. In that case, the child doesn't lose a year. Suppose the parent has to shift again to some other country, then the child doesn't lose a year. That case, because the IGCSE IBDP exams are held in means the IGCSE exams are held, IBDP exams are held in April, May. That is, the results come out in August, somewhere in June, July end, or July, July, August, July end, August. Whereas the IBDP, IGCSE exams take place in again in April and May. June series, May, June. So you see again, the exam times might differ. So as a result, the child might lose some months or some year or a year maybe. So in that case, but if the child has come down to India and if he's going to stay in India now forever, then he can of course choose between the CBSE, because see, at the end of the day, CBSE curriculum is more suited for Indian admissions to Indian colleges. Or even if we say that IGCSE, IBDP, there are certain nuances, there are certain, marking problems. The translation of marks of IBDP and IGCSE might pose a problem for Indian universities if the translations and the interpretations are not done well.
And most importantly, if somebody has to, let's say, target the engineering exam, entrance exam, or the medical entrance exam, then what is your suggestion?
Then definitely CBSE is more in adherence to the program than IGCSE and IBDP are.
Okay. Okay. And if somebody has to continue to focus on humanities, then possibly IGCSE would be IBDP would be
No,
a
if someone is
sensible.
focusing on studying abroad, then IGCSE, IBDP, actually, it prepares the foundation for colleges abroad.
Okay.
with the
Basically, the
coursework.
undergraduate courses.
Yes, yes. Then
Okay.
IGCSE, IBDP is a, because see both IGCSE and IBDP, they are wonderful curriculums. If you see, the curricula doesn't have don't have any like what you call the capacity, the intellectual capacity or the bandwidth that the curriculum produces. Both the curriculums create or produce is undebatable.
Right.
So here I would always suggest all parents that see where your child stands good. You have to see the right fit for your child.
Yeah, I think the other thing which we have not really dwelled upon is the obviously the cost factor, which would be
Hmm.
substantially different in case of a IBDP or a
Yeah,
IGCSE
it's
board.
very
So
different.
I
Hmm.
think that factor is also an important one when it is in terms of making the decision also for the parents, right?
Yes. Yes.
Can you give
Like
us
I'll
a
tell you
ballpark figure?
one small example, like the IGCSE examination fee comes to around something around 60,000. Whereas the CBSE examination fee is still, I think it's a 500 something.
Mhm.
So there's a huge cost difference. And this I'm
Okay.
not talking from school to school. It's the
Yeah,
curriculum.
I understand.
Hmm.
And just to get a broad idea about what could be the term fee for a IGCSE, IBDP kind of a school.
See, it ranges from school to school again. From for IBDP, schools might charge you anything around 40,000 per month to maybe 70, 80,000 per month. So it depends on the school, the facilities, the infrastructure, everything together. But
Okay,
yes, IBDP is far more expensive than CBSE can ever think of.
okay. So if I simplify the entire conversation, number
Mhm.
one, look at the approach or the personality of the child. If the child is a thinking type, then possibly IGCSE or IBDP could be a
Yeah, if
possible option.
the child will enjoy the program a lot. If
Yeah,
he is analytical, if he has scope for another thing in both the international curriculums like ICSE, linguistic, the language capacity of the child needs to be immense.
okay, understood.
The
Okay. The second point, what we need to understand is if the child is wanting to take up a entrance examination, whether it is for
Mm,
engineering or for medical, then I think the safest route would be to go through the CBSE board because the curriculum
yes,
is aligned to those
invariably.
examinations
Invariably,
invariably. So that would be
invariably so.
sensible.
Because that's not only for this, but because of the adherence, the strong adherence that that the CBSE syllabus shows with the JE syllabus and the NEET syllabus.
Right. The third point is if somebody has a transferable job, uh, there is a possibility of the family going back again to outside India,
Then
then better to stick to the IGCSE or the IB board because that
yes,
way you
because
will
even
not.
if it's in the middle of the year, you can just take an admission if your subjects are matching
Yeah,
in the school, like in the desired school. You just take a certificate, means a transfer, and go there.
okay,
Not a problem. In fact,
right,
the IBDP and IGCSE, they are very good with changing the registrations also, transfer of
okay,
places.
fantastic. The third point, the fourth point is obviously the cost. I think the cost of education is going to be
Much
much more
higher in
much
both
higher.
the.
So I think as parents, if you are capable of spending that money, I think you can do that because the fifth point is that these IBDP or IGCSE boards they make the children ready for education abroad. I mean, if especially if you're planning for an undergraduate course outside India, then these boards would be more suited to prepare the
Yes.
children in that direction. Uh, uh,
And many
uh,
colleges outside India, and many colleges, especially in the US and Canada or Australia, we have seen that as a counselor, we've seen that they have a preference for IB and IGCSE candidates.
okay, Okay. Yeah, I think broadly, I think that sums up the top 5 points, and broadly we have covered all the points what we thought of covering, and hopefully this particular video or the audio, if you are listening, will help you to understand what are the differences. And if you still have any doubts, please do connect with us. We'd love to help you out on a one-to-one basis in future as well. So, Miss Ananya, thank you so much to join us for this conversation and contributing and sharing all your knowledge about the education system. I'm sure a lot of our young parents, I mean, young students and their parents can take benefit out of this. And thank you once again to
Thank you,
invest
sir.
time
Thanks for
with us.
calling me. Yeah, thank you.
Hope you enjoyed this episode. We sincerely wish you could take something from our conversation today and be able to apply it to your life in a positive way. We value your feedback. This can help us improve our future episodes. So share your thoughts to serve you better. If you want us to focus on a topic which you think is of importance, let us know. We will share our expertise in future episodes. So, see you soon with a new topic and help you in your career journey.